As a mechanical engineer, I naturally have all the answers. So why not answer your questions? We did also just hit 5,000 subscribers on this channel, so I said this was gonna be a celebration video, but really I just want to show off how good I am at answering questions. And since I'm going on a road trip, let me take you with me while I answer your questions. Oh, why am I wearing this? That's to make sure everyone knows I'm an engineer at all times. So let's pack that first. Mohammed2A on YouTube asked, what motivated you to pursue engineering? I really enjoyed math and physics in high school, and I was looking at degrees I could do that involve that. And I guess why I chose engineering was that it's really applied, so you're never going to do something just for the fun of it. It's always something that happens in the real world, rather than going into science or math where it's maybe you don't necessarily know what you're going to do with it. That's at least what I thought. Let's go. Ria asked on the newsletter, I want to pivot from applied mathematics to engineering. Do you have any advice? And I want to expand this not just to mathematics but also science or applied science if you want to switch, because I think they're all quite similar. In general, I don't think it's that difficult to switch from math or science to engineering, just because you already have a great foundation in math or science that you also need in engineering. Generally, those degrees also have a great reputation as being quite difficult to achieve. I think people are gonna think that you're able to teach yourself the parts that are maybe missing. So now, how do you make that happen? I think there's two parts to this. One is learning the things that you might be missing, and the other part, leaning into your strength that you already have. So for the first part, your best bet is probably to pick an industry that you want to work in, and then learn as much as you can about that industry by reading books, watching videos, finding websites, tracking the news, and so on. And the kind of knowledge I would learn is what kind of technologies do you use in that industry and how do those work, what software programs are commonly used and required to do the work, and can you teach yourself some basics of that software. And it will also help to stay up to date on the latest trends in the industry or recent developments, so that you can kind of throw in some keywords in your cover letter or in the application process during the interviews. And the important part here is to just show that you're willing to learn, and also show that you can learn new things quite quickly, because that's what they need to have trust in, that you are going to continue learning the things that you need to learn for the job. And for the second part, I recommend that you reflect on the things, the skills, the knowledge, the experiences that you already have that engineers or people with an engineering background working that same job wouldn't have. So things that you can actually bring to the table that they don't have a reason to hire you specifically with the background that you have. A good way to think about this is that if you want to learn something from the company, so let's say you want to learn how to work in that new industry in an engineering job, then you also need to offer something in return that they can learn from you, or something that they are looking for that they haven't been able to find elsewhere. And if you don't know what that could be that you bring to the table, I think you can talk to other engineers that are working already in that industry and ask them what kind of skills are needed to work that job, and also share the skills and the knowledge that you have, and ask them to identify anything that stands out to them as things that are hard to find in engineers. aeronautical field as a mechanical engineer. I mean, there's going to be things you can do to help your chances, like obviously if you are able to take some classes in the aeronautical field or learn some things like about how a plane works, different components, how they're designed, that's going to help to show your passion for it and your willingness to learn. But otherwise, I think it's a very obvious field to work in as a mechanical engineer. Since mechanical engineering is really broad, it covers all kinds of different vehicles, basically anything that's motorized. So yeah, you can do it.
What elective courses did you find most useless/useful for a mechanical engineering bachelor's?
I think which courses are most useful or useless really depends on what you do later. To me, there's honestly no course that stands out to me as specifically particularly useful. I think there's a little bit of everything that I took from it, but there's not a specific course that I use all the time. It's more the knowledge I gained from projects, like project management, combining all the different disciplines. I guess the course that taught me the most about how things work it was called construction, which I guess in English would be called design, like where you do computer-aided design using a technical drawing and then also calculate the different forces and the momentum. So I think that's the course I found most useful, but really it depends. Any course could be really useful if you go more into that field, and it could also be super useless if you end up going in a field that doesn't need that at all. Most courses are going to end up being useless for you because you're not going to use most of the knowledge you learn in engineering school.
What can a final engineering student do to prepare for life after campus?
Yeah, I think life after campus really means working life, things that are going to prepare you for what you're going to do at work later. So that's projects, working together with other disciplines. There's often student teams at uni that you can participate in where you can work on a real life project, or at least a project that is very similar to what you're going to do in real life. So that could be great. Also doing internships or working on the side in a company already, it can really help you apply the knowledge that you're learning in school to the real world, and knowing better what to focus on, and just already building some skills that are gonna help you find a job later. Almost everyone I know got their first job from already working somewhere before, from working somewhere as a student or writing their thesis at a company during university, and then just getting an offer from that company, because the first job is really the hardest to get. After that, you can build on that experience, and the easiest way to get into a company is through an internship or a thesis project. And then some skills that are going to help you as well is clear communication, project management, just being organized, knowing how to manage a calendar, manage your time. So if you can build the soft skills already in engineering school, that's going to help you as well. It's nice here, isn't it? So let's answer some more questions, but before I do that, I have to do something very important. Better. What tips do you have for a mechanical engineering undergraduate in balancing academic life with extracurricular activities? My advice is to wait with taking on any extracurricular activities until the second year of your bachelor studies, or at least until you have a really good grip on your studies, and to study way more than you think you need to, because if you're fresh out of high school, you don't really have a great study compass yet. You still need to calibrate it. So it's a lot more likely that you will study too little than that you will study so much that you'll think, wow, I really should have studied less this first year. And then over time, as you get better at studying and managing your time, you're ready to add on some bigger commitments. Freshman year of engineering, first semester, and already failed pre-calculus and introduction to physics. I love what engineering is all about, but how can I not feel like I'm an asshole? That's harsh. To give you some context, so during my bachelor studies, I failed 3 classes: Design Theory 2, Measurement Technology and Sensors, and Differential Equations. Why did I fail? Because it was really hard and I didn't study enough. It seemed like a huge catastrophe at the time, but then I just studied a lot to try to catch up. I retook the classes, I passed with okay grades, and then I just moved on. So as long as you change your behavior after you fail a class, you'll be fine. Especially in the beginning, university is a lot of trial and error of figuring out how much you need to study and how to divide your time between different classes and between study time and free time. And sometimes you get it wrong, and then you just need to fix it and move on, and you're good. Just make sure to fix it. I'm almost 40 and going back to college for mechanical engineering. I'm fine when I look ahead to calculus, but trig is for some reason a gigantic problem for my brain. How many triangles do you encounter on an average day? And are you able to just measure them? On an average day, I probably encounter 0.03 triangles. So not that many. It's really gonna depend on the job you do, but what I can say for sure is that whatever you dislike in engineering school, you can 100% avoid once you're working as an engineer. You can then ditch all the stuff you hate and focus on your favorite parts. Do you think that to become a good engineer, you can continue to practice the work and really improve, like finding more effective study methods to improve your grades? Or do you think you need a natural ability or knack for the job? I think you need a little bit of both, but I don't think natural ability necessarily means having good grades. It means having a natural curiosity for how things work and a drive to solve problems and the ability to think logically. Beyond that, you'd be surprised how much of the engineering mindset you can actually learn if you have the drive to learn. Oh, looks like it's time for a new location. And we're back. As a woman in STEM, what is the best lesson you've learned in your time working as an engineer regarding the working environment? Which, if you don't know, STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And I'm actually going to share 2 lessons. The first one is that the people who are going to doubt you the most as a woman in engineering are most likely not people who are engineers themselves. It's random people who don't know shit about engineering. And those are really not people you need to listen to. And lesson number 2 is a point that my friend Liz Rowe actually brought up recently when I was interviewing her for my new podcast. Sometimes people confuse female engineers with secretaries or assistants, and will try to give you tasks that are just not your job. Tasks like writing meeting notes, organizing team events, setting up the team folder structure, ordering lunch for the team. Tasks that distract you from the job and won't get you ahead. It's if you're continuously asked to do certain tasks that your male co-workers aren't asked to do. You'll know if that's the case, and then it's time to politely decline and shut that stuff down. Say no to everything. No to meeting notes, no to random team events you need to organize. Whatever stuff that is volunteering at work, say no to it. And you should definitely listen to that podcast episode if you want to hear more about this topic, because Liz had some really great insights on that. So I'm gonna link that once it's out. Have you ever been unable to solve an engineering problem? And what new things have you done in the last few months? Okay, so 2 questions. Engineering problems are rarely something that you either solve or don't solve. It's hardly ever this black and white. In most cases, the question is how optimal is the solution that you're going to find. So I guess there have been problems where I wasn't able to find a super optimal solution. So I was picking between 2 or more solutions that were all a little bit awful. And in that case, you just define the different solutions that you do have and the benefits and the drawbacks of each solution, how much it costs, how long it takes to implement, you know, what other problems it causes or it could cause, the risks, and then you just pick the least awful one. And for the second part, I can think of 3 new things that I've done in the last few months. So the first one is that I changed jobs at my company. I switched from material flow automation engineer to process engineer at the company I work at, which is a battery production company. So instead of working on moving material between different production steps, now I work on what we actually do in one of those production steps. I also learned how to use Photoshop and create my first thumbnail in Photoshop. So hopefully from now on, my thumbnails are gonna look a little bit better. And the third thing I did is I started a podcast. It's called the Fresh Engineer Podcast, and I interview engineers about their journey into engineering, what they actually do at work, and their best career advice. So I'm super excited for that to come out, and I think the trailer might already be out by the time this goes live. So if that's the case, I'm gonna put it right here. Okay, bye.